Corey.
Well, I mean, if history is going to repeat itself, you gotta like Autumn Burchett's chances here. Andrea Mengucci has won every round of Historic that hasn't been paired against Autumn Burchett. So Andrea is X and Autumn Burchett here in the tournament. So you gotta love Autumn Burchett's chances.
This is a really good looking hand here. Skirk Prospector, the first thing down on the battlefield. We got Phyrexian Tower to power out of Muxus early. We got Goblin Matron to go and find said Muxus. And we also have Krenko, who's been the star of this Goblin deck for the time being. Well, for the duration of these matchups. Just flooding the battlefield with 1/1s.
Yeah, when everybody's looking at Muxus to do the very big thing, Krenko sneaks in and wins the game here from Autumn Burchett for the last few rounds of today's performance.
Sneaks in with an army of goblins, for sure.
No kidding. No kidding. But Andrea Mengucci's hand is quite nice as well here.
Yeah, good looking start. We got some Thoughtseize to take away any powerful card brought here by Goblin Matron. We got some Essence Scatter to deal with any big threats. So certainly several ways to answer anything that Autumn Burchett can go and find.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Essence Scatter there was a huge pickup because Goblin Matron could have found Muxus. We drew it anyways, but Muxus could land on the battlefield as soon as next turn. And we've seen some crazy Muxus throughout the tournament, but half the time it's just game.
Yeah, Muxus has been very powerful, but Krenko as well. He's been working really, really hard to get these victories here for Autumn Burchett. So a redundant copy of Muxus may not be a bad idea, considering the cards that we do see in Andrea Mengucci's hand.
Yeah, and especially in hindsight against Andrea Mengucci's hand, Thoughtseize is likely to, take one of these copies. And, if you can just play another one here, they all have to be dealt with. You can't leave one of them and think you're going to be okay.
Yeah. So Mengucci does have the answers, though, for both of these Muxus. Can Thoughtseize the one and Essence Scatter the second.
Mm-hmm.
And could potentially leave Autumn Burchett without anything on the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. Got those plays on lockdown right now, so it'll be interesting to see if Autumn maybe goes for plan B of trying to just play Goblin Matron, set up these really, really big turns, and basically just put Andrea Mengucci in a position where he has to deal with the board first, and then all of a sudden the door is open to play Muxus.
Yeah. So consideration here, several options for Mengucci. Tempted to fire off that Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath, but looks like we're going to go for the Growth Spiral here.
Yeah, Growth Spiral main phase to see if we draw a land. And if you do draw a land, then you can Thoughtseize. But if you don't, all right, untap land, excuse me. But if you don't draw an untapped land, then you really can't Thoughtseize here. Just for the train wreck situation of there being two Muxus.
Yeah. So he knows about the one. He's ready and waiting for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 untapped mana has got to be super suspicious for Autumn Burchett's side of things.
Yeah, really suspicious because looking at the game 1 configuration, there is 4 cards that you could realistically have here that deal with Muxus, 2 Essence Scatters and 2 Aether Gust in the main deck. So Autumn has to have that on her radar right now.
Oh, for sure. So in the tank goes Autumn, thinking about what line to take here. What would you do in this situation, Corey?
I probably would be trying to do a little bit of a setup turn, maybe Goblin Matron or just playing like Goblin Chieftain, something that is strong, but not 100% the thing you need. If we're going to attack first, I think I'd play Krenko just because it takes out one of the outs. Andrea could have been holding up Eliminate, and at least this narrows it down to only having 4 cards that Andrea could have to deal with this Krenko.
Krenko is obviously one of the biggest threats in this deck, but Essence Scatter, you gotta think that he's thinking about that Muxus in hand. But Krenko needs to be answered, otherwise it just runs away with the game. So Essence Scatter taking care of that, and Thoughtseize is available this turn if he so chooses.
And I think the one thing Andrea Mengucci is just thinking to himself is just, please don't have 2 Muxus here. Because Nissa untap a land plus Thoughtseize. If that takes Muxus and there's not another one, great play. That's a way to kind of stabilize this board. But we see that there is 2 Muxus.
Oh, yes. So Nissa, who shakes the world now, down on the battlefield. Could also potentially run out an Uro here, but most likely going to go for the Thoughtseize on the revealed Muxus, only to find that there's another one.
Yeah, rough spot for Andrea Mengucci already here. Now, Muxus still, of course, has to just connect with some good stuff. We've also seen some really bad Muxus in the history of the game here.
Well, maybe it's Muxus's time to shine. Who knows? Yep, look at his face.
Yep.
You can tell it's just like, ah, darn it.
Yeah, and this is tough. Now it's like, do you take one of them in hopes that you're going to find a way to deal with the next Muxus next turn? Or do you just kind of give it up and take Goblin Chieftain to maybe stop the haste effect?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really rough spot to be in.
I have no idea. I wouldn't want to be in Andrea Mengucci's position right now, because this is just a hand of trouble.
Yeah.
In the form of Muxus and whatever else is coming off the top of the library.
No kidding. And then just the Goblin Matron is terrifying as well. Just whatever you possibly need to deal with. I think that's what I would take as well, but also not be happy about it.
Yeah. So we're going to run out Ura in the second main phase. Draw a card, gain some life. Finds Eliminate.
Okay.
Right.
Now Autumn knows the coast is clear for the insanely powerful 6-drop, and here we go.
This could be lethal right now, so hold on to your seats, friends.
Don't blink at this opportune moment, whatever you do. Muxus. Ooh.
Well, not entirely what they were hoping for.
Yeah, not huge or anything, but really the important thing is the haster. So if you can only have 2 goblins, as long as one of them is a haste goblin so that you can immediately take care of Nissa, Autumn's got to be okay with that. But of course, it could have been a lot worse for Andrea Mengucci.
Oh, yeah. But Nissa providing the distraction there from Muxus, that gets that Planeswalker off the battlefield. And the rest chip in for some damage. Down to 11 goes Andrea Mengucci, who needs to find an answer for the second Muxus that he's seen.
Yeah, and it looks like we want to probably... Uro is an option that we can start with to maybe hit an Aether Gust or one of the other Essence Scatters. That would be pretty strong here. But yeah, really tough. You really want like Yasharn, so that maybe you just can't cast it. That still is a little rough, because we can just draw a land to cast it.
But at least going to stem some of the bleeding here, hopefully, by killing off the Haster and a third Muxus off the top of the library. So Muxus has seen what Krenko's been up to and is like, hang on, wait a second. This is my deck here, fella. I'm the one that does the cool things, all right?
Exactly. So what I'm guessing we're going to see here is Phyrexian Tower just throwing away Muxus to try to cast another one and hope for a little bit better of one.
Another spin of the wheel here for the Goblin Grandee. And for Autumn Burchett looking to pick up the victory here and face off against Brad Barclay. Oh!
Wow! Wow.
Was that 6?
And Krenko on top. No big deal for extra insult to injury there.
What on earth? You've got to smile at that. That was unbelievable.
Wow. Oh. You know those better Muxus that we could have seen? That was one of them. That was the real Muxus.
That was absolutely insane. Let's see if we can get a repeat of that in game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We are in the lower finals. We'll see you right after this.
Hi there, my name is Miguel. I'm a game designer, world builder at Studio X. The first step for writing character was a short bio. We got an outline of the entire arc. We were given short little bios of the characters. And in Zareth's case, he is a merfolk rogue who's new to the set and has known Akiri for a while. From there, I could draw from the world guide, what I could draw from the arc of the main story, and then what I had of the existing outline for the two-part story that I wrote to create a character. Each team that works on a set gets kind of broken down into folks working on the narrative side, people working on the art side, and then the two work together to sort of concept out what each card is going to look like and how it will both reflect the story that's happening on the web releases and the mechanics of the card as well. So as a fan and a writer, I'm so excited to see where these characters will go in the next couple of years, and even more excited for you all to come along with us.
Welcome back to the lower finals of the Zendikar Rising Championship. If you've just tuned in, I encourage you to go back and look at the end of Game 1 between Andrea Mengucci and Autumn Burchett. We just had the most ridiculous Muxus Goblin Grandee turn. I couldn't see, but it looked like it hit all 6 goblins off the top of the library.
Yeah, it was definitely 5 or 6. That was something special right there.
Oh, man. I'm still reeling from that. That'll get your blood pumping.
No kidding, especially if you are in Autumn's seat right there, seeing all of that. When you get to see that many red permanents come into play, you got to get a little excited.
Oh, yes. Excited indeed, as we are sideboarding here, trying to figure out what we want to change up. For Andrea Mengucci, what is his plan going into Game 2 here?
God, pray at this point, you know? I mean, so far it has been all Autumn when it comes to these two meeting in Historic. It's just been Autumn having Andrea's number every single time.
Oh man, look at this curve from Autumn now. Skirt Prospector into Snoop into Matron Horn. My goodness me.
Yeah, both hands pretty strong again here. And the thing that I love the most about Autumn and her play, normally you think of these Goblin decks as just this all-in deck, right? And that it just does its main thing. And while that can be true and you can do exactly what we just saw, there's so many other ways you can play this deck. It really reminds me of her play from MC1 with the mono blue deck that she took it down with. That seemed like another deck where you just strap up Curious Obsession onto your creature and just do that every single time on turn 2. Yeah. But Autumn always danced around plays and just made it not look as obvious as the deck really is.
Yeah, she really is such a finessed player. Like, just even watching the hand movements and everything from Mythic Championship 1, as this obviously was an in-person event.
Yeah.
Like, everything is meticulous, and I love the way she plays. I also love the way Mengucci plays. I loved watching him take down the very first Mythic Invitational Championship.
Agreed. Great players, both of them.
I also love the little smile from Autumn when Snoop came down to reveal another horn off the top of the library.
Yes.
Oh, the hat's
there
come
it
out.
is.
Big pick. Respect.
Yeah, and I think me trying to cosplay as Andrea Mengucci, I don't think I'm ever going to be as good as him, so I should probably just give it up. Yeah.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, I believe is the saying, so I'm sure Mengu appreciated that.
Yeah, this is
you
definitely...
look ridiculous, by the way. But
well, thank you. Thank you, Ailey.
You're welcome.
That's what I was going for.
Here comes Yashard, Implacable Earth, gonna go and find 2 lands and shut off any sacrifice effects now. So this little Skirk Prospector ain't gonna get anything done here while the big pig is on the battlefield.
Yeah, absolutely. Solid start here from Andrea Mengucci, but, you know, Yasharn, while shutting down the sacrifice abilities, doesn't shut down the top of playing cards from the top of the deck here, thanks to Snoop. So gets to get some value with this ringleader. Oh,
man.
hello.
Goodness me.
Not bad.
Well, hey there, Kranko, and another Goblin Ringleader. So there was a choice there to either fire off 2 Goblin Matrons and go and find some things, or just grab some stuff off the top of the library with the Ringleader.
Yeah, and the one thing I really love about Goblin Matron and Conspicuous Snoop's interaction is if you see a land on top and you don't like it, just play a Matron, shuffle. Maybe you get a little bit more value from it that way.
Yeah. So Mengu's going to have to channel the force of the boar sat upon his head as these goblins are starting to amass a battlefield that I personally wouldn't want to deal with.
No, absolutely not. And as it stands right now, Autumn can have a nice little play of playing Goblin Matron and going to get a Gem Palm Incinerator to deal with this Yasharn. One option to have on the table, a little risky if you only have exactly 4 goblins, then you can get blown out by a Fatal Push.
Yeah, which we do see in hand there for Andrea Mengucci. Also has an Extinction event, which doesn't line up super well just yet, but we'll find some value in a little bit. This Fatal Push is active with Revolt, with Uro leaving the battlefield. Any targets we'd like to hit right now, or not yet?
I think there's a huge consideration to just hitting the Snoop here, right? Because Autumn is going to play in such a way where why use the resources in your hand when you can use the resources that Snoop gives you right now? Yeah. So I think there is definitely some consideration to get that card off the battlefield.
Andrea Mengucci presenting the big pig on a silver platter here, almost seeing if these Snoop and the Goblin Ringleader would like to jump in the way here.
Yeah, definitely a risky double block here, because then a Fatal Push would really be able to blow out Autumn here. Yeah, I don't think you can block here. That seems really risky. As powerful or as great as it is to get Yasharn off the battlefield, that's a little too risky.
Yeah. It's a good call there by Autumn Burchett, making sure to not get blown out entirely, as Fatal Push does come down and take care of the Snoop.
Okay.
So a couple options here now. Can either go for Goblin Matron in conjunction with Kranko or the Ringleader.
Yeah, a ton of options here. I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't see Goblin Matron for Muxus and then either Kranko or Goblin Ringleader. That way you're using all your mana, you're being mana efficient, and then also setting up a nice turn next turn.
It's nice to have this much choice in an aggressive deck, isn't it?
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, this is not the easiest aggressive deck to play, that's for sure.
There's a lot of choices to be made, and it's very dissimilar to other aggressive decks where it's just like, you know, spam out all your creatures on the battlefield as fast as you can and hope that you can kill your opponent. No, this deck can go long.
Exactly.
With the inclusion of the Herald's Horn, just being able to filter through the top of the library a little bit for you, get some extra goblins into hand, give you card advantage. I mean, just compare the cards in hand here to Mengucci and Autumn Burchett.
Really makes playing against these decks very hard when there's so many options. You know, pretty much all the decks Autumn plays are these style of decks that are really, really tough to deal with, but they also have these explosive, aggressive draws. Even Gruul Adventures in Standard is that style of deck as well.
Yeah. Very consistent archetypes indeed. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, is available to Mengucci now, should he so choose. There's also an Extinction event that can deal with 2 of the goblins on the battlefield.
Yeah, Extinction event gets a little awkward now if we do play Uro, because now we just have a very good odd creature and a very good even creature, so you really don't want to cast that one.
Ooh, Thoughtseize. It's a nice pickup. Thoughtseize, Growth Spiral, ways to dig through the library, hopefully find some extra answers for these creatures.
Yeah, and we saw that Aether Gust go at Goblin Matron, and not the Krenko. I know we wanted to get that last card into the graveyard to be able to escape Uro, but Autumn does not mind that with another Matron in hand. Plus, you just get to go search up maybe Gem Palm Incinerator or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And with Krenko on the battlefield, you'll be able to make a couple extra goblins. You won't have to worry about losing a goblin and losing the extra point of damage you need to kill your Sharn. So, could see that as a possibility. Mengu's counting something. What's on his mind? He is working something out there as Thoughtseize and Growth Spiral still remain available to the Italian. Herald's Horn's going to reveal the Goblin Matron, as well as a conspicuous Snoop for the draw. So that's a very, very nice pickup there for Autumn Burchett. The Krenko Mob Boss is active. We've got 2 Goblin Matrons able to go and find something else out of the library. Thoughtseize from Andrea Mengucci just waiting to grab whatever one of these Matrons goes to find. First things first, let's get Conspicuous Snoop down on this battlefield. And start taking a look at the top of the library here. Finds a land. You're going to see Goblin Matron come on down and go digging through the library to find something. Let's see what it is that Autumn Burchett goes for. Several options available to her at this point in the game. Could grab a Goblin Chieftain and just start making all these creatures that Krenko is going to start punting out. Second Mountain to come on down. And this is going to be an absolutely painful turn with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goblins being created and swinging in here for a bunch of damage with a +1/+1/2, and nothing that Andrea Mengucci can do about it. So here we go. Krenko turns sideways. Here come a bunch of tokens. Let's get these attackers into the red zone. Is there anything Andrea Mengucci can do about this? Ever the careful button press here from Autumn Burchett, just thinking about what's happening before running in with the entire team. This is a ton of damage, but only going in with enough. I'm so tempted here to just push every single goblin through right now. But Autumn's going to do the math and make sure that this attack picks up the victory here. Autumn Burchett so close to winning here against Andrea Mengucci. Not gonna rush it though. 10 attackers poised to swing on in here. And all Mengucci can do is look on. Nine attackers. In we go. Is there anything Mengucci can do? Blocking the conspicuous Snoop. The growth spiral, the only thing available to him. And the good game comes from Andrea Mengucci. We have our second finalist in a clean 2-0. Autumn Burchett picks up the victory against Andrea Mengucci, and she has got to be absolutely thrilled about that. Is going to go on to face Brad Bar